Good morning, and it's Friday the 13th. I hope you're not superstitious. So, are you superstitious? Do you just leave things to chance? Or do you use tried and tested methodology? That's a good word, isn't it, for this time in the morning? Tried and tested methodology. Well, I'm James Foster, and careers matter. So, if you're applying for a job, or I'll say that again. If you are looking for a job at the moment, if you need a job at the moment, or if you just simply want to go out and find something new, something to take your career to another level, how are you going about it? Are you just looking on the online to see what's being advertised and going for job after job and hoping for the best, and basically, yeah, basically wearing the right colour socks or the right shirt, or filling things in with your favourite pen, etc., etc. In other words, are you relying on superstition, or are you actually going to be using some form of definite methodology that you know is going to give you the best chance to get the job that you are looking for? So let me give you some ideas of what will help, what will get you, give you the best chance to get across the line. So first of all, when you're looking for a job, you need to be looking at a very focused approach, a targeted approach that's looking exactly at the right jobs, the right positions for you, and with the right companies. Biggest thing I see, and there's a lot of these. I could be here for some time, but I'm not going to be. The biggest thing I see when I look at people who apply for jobs is that their application isn't targeted, and it is inappropriate. You would be surprised just how many people apply for jobs completely blind. And it's ridiculous. Why? Why do you do that? You know, maybe in their minds it's they're hoping that some recruiter picks it up and spots them for something else. Never going to happen. It's not the way it works. You know, if somebody applies to me for a job, I'm looking at people for my job. For the job that I've got for one of my clients. I'm not looking to collect a load of CVs to fill up my database with people that are just not appropriate to me whatsoever. So make sure that your application, however you go about it, is appropriate, that it's for a job that you can do, and it's for a job that is very much what you have got value in. And that's a big one. Where you bring value. If you're a project manager, and you're a specialist in a particular area, let's say it's network implementation, customer enterprise network implementation. So what you've done for a living is you have implemented large international, national client networks. Then I would suggest that that's where you've really got the value to add. Does that mean you can't segue into something else? No, it doesn't. But it does mean that if you are going to do that segue, you've got to make sure it's an appropriate move. That you can't just sort of say, okay, well, I'm a project manager today. I want to be a sales account manager tomorrow. It's not going to work. So it's a matter of what's appropriate for you and being very focused and targeted, and then making sure that everything that you have in terms of documentation, CV, cover letter, anything else that you're going to use to promote yourself is tailored for that particular job. Very important. If you don't do that, then the chances are your CV isn't even going to be lifted out of the hat. That's if you don't do the tailoring. It's not even going to be lifted out of the hat, because the chances that your CV match the job descriptions that you're applying for, if you haven't done something about it, is slim to none. It just is, because the way it works, it's the CV goes into the bucket. The bucket is a applicant tracking system that is set up to filter CVs that are not appropriate, and they have used mechanisms such as using phraseology, keywords, and such like to identify what's appropriate in a CV. And so therefore they're reducing this number to that number. And then there's another filtration system that comes off that when the recruiter picks it up and he does or she does her bit, his bit on the filtering technique. But if you don't get out of that bucket, it doesn't get to the recruiter, you've got no chance. And then you've got to be appropriate enough that the recruiter can also spot exactly that you have got the right skills and experience. And then you may get pushed through for an interview, or you may get, rather, your CV may get passed on to the hiring manager. By this time, any semblance of you adding some value into that process to get in front of the hiring manager has been taken out. So there's no presentation going with it other than what the internal recruiter is going to send through with it. There's nothing there that is going to really sell you in that process. So you've got to be a little bit careful, understanding of the fact that when you are sending stuff through, that it gets filtered in, it gets cleaned up a lot, and you've therefore got to make sure that your message is coming through strongly in the CV, tailored to that particular role. So when the hiring manager sees it, he knows you're the right person and he's got to interview you. Some companies pass cover letters through, some companies don't. So it's always worth sending a cover letter tailored to the job, not some generic cover letter that's a repeat of your CV. This is a cover letter that tells the person, that tells the hiring manager exactly why you believe you should be considered for that opportunity. That's the point. So I've covered quite a few of these off already. If I were applying for a job today in the current market, I would be doing everything I could to not leave it to chance, to give myself the maximum chance of getting the job that I really want. And what does that mean? How can I do that? Well, if you're going for an application system, so you're applying to online jobs, you're going up against a lot of other people, and I've already pointed out there's a filtration system in place, and you've got to get through the recruitment process, the recruitment filtration process, and then the hiring manager's got to see you as appropriate. That's chance. You can significantly reduce that chance if you could actually go directly to that hiring manager. If you could take out all that intermediary bit that's filtering you out and that's going to perhaps change the way that your profile is seen, and in going directly, you get the opportunity to write directly and to add your own influence into the hiring manager's decision making, and you know that he's going to see what you've written. So you're sending your profile in with a cover letter that is completely telling that hiring manager exactly why you are somebody that they should know about. It's reducing the competition to a large extent. You're pretty certain that it's going to get through to the hiring manager. It's less certain that he actually opens the email, and there's a more certain way of doing it than sending an email. But if you're going to send an email, make sure you've got a really, really good subject line so that they want to open your email. And if he's looking at that at your CV and the letter that you've sent, you know that the message that you're trying to put across to him is about the value that you can bring directly to him. And this is all very important stuff. You're bringing value to the organisation. You're bringing value to the individual. You're helping them. You're taking their pain away, their problems, their issues. You're solving the problem for them. That's the nature of the cover letter. It's not a repeat of your CV. It's not I've got this qualification, that qualification, the other qualification. It isn't. It is all about understanding what that hiring manager's particular problem is. You make assumptions about that to some extent because you've worked in that environment before and you know what the problems are, and you've solved those problems, and that's what you tell him. I understand that you've got this area of projects that are coming up right now. These are areas that I understand. These are the problems that are associated with them, and I know how to deal with those problems. And this is why. That is that sort of approach. You're taking chance out of it. There's a lot more I can say about that, but for the moment, that's it. So understanding your value, selling yourself effectively, understanding the interview process, knowing how to answer questions succinctly, appropriately, again, with value, and again, giving them, so it's not just repeating functionality of the job. We know, if I'm a hiring manager and I'm looking for a project manager to come to work for me, I know what a project is about. I don't need somebody to tell me. If I can ask them questions which will give me a clue as to whether or not they actually know the fundamental processes of it. Of course I can, and I might do that. But what I need this person to tell me is what he's done with that, with his project management skills, how he has been effective as a project manager, how he has made a difference, how he has delivered projects, not the fact that he knows what a work process is about, not the fact that he knows a little bit about the life cycle of a project. You can learn that in a book. We don't, and I'm not particularly, I'm not particularly interested that he can repeat the content of Prince2 methodology. What I want to know is that he can implement the Prince2 methodology effectively and deliver a project, and that's what I'm looking for from an interview. So if you're given the opportunity within an interview to talk through your CV, don't talk through it structurally, talk through it through achievements, talk through it with the impact that you've had, how you have made a difference, how you are able to affect the outcome. There's a lot more on interview technique than just that, but these are just some clues that are giving you how you can take the chance out of the whole process. And then after that, it's follow up, follow up, follow up. Never let the thing go cold. So many times, and company process is terrible when it comes to this. The lack of feedback is just atrocious from organisations. It really is. You can sit there for weeks on end after having done an interview and not know whether you had any success or failure within it at all. Follow up with the recruiter if you're going directly into the company, into their application process, or go directly to the hiring manager. There's nothing wrong with writing a polite email to the hiring manager, thanking them for the opportunity and asking for feedback. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And if they are good enough at their job, they will be polite enough to respond to you, or they will put the response process through their recruitment team. And if that's not coming through to you, go back in and complain, because it's got to come through to you. If the company's not doing its job in that respect properly, it might not be a company that you want to work for. But the follow-up process in organisations these days is just absolutely terrible. It embarrasses me that when people ask me for information, I have got to go in and slog into the company to try and get that information from them, and it's just not good enough. But you deserve that feedback, and you need to go for that feedback, because you want to take the chance element out. What did I do if I'm not successful? What did I do wrong? What were the areas that you were impressed by? How did I come across? Was this something that I could have done better? This is feedback you should be getting. A lot of the time it's internal process. They're interviewing too many people. They're not, and that's another matter. That you know, don't ask me about the recruitment process within organisations, which I don't think most companies have got a clue how to recruit. But that's neither here nor there. At the moment, to increase your chances, follow up effectively. Go in and ask for feedback. If you are successful, then you can. There's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, could you tell me what I did well? What were the bits that sold me? Just because you are wanting to build up your understanding of how well you're coming across and that sort of thing. And never ever let it go cold, because sometimes what happens is you get, yes, you were successful at that. Something then comes in, changes the situation. It goes cold for a while, and you find that you're the, you know, it's disappeared again, and you really need to know that that's going on. It could change, internal processes changed, or maybe they've got a better candidate come through. That's always possible. Or what they consider a better candidate, because of course there's nobody better than you, is there? And that is genuinely how you should view it, that you are the best candidate for the role. You should never question yourself on that. So I've gone through my list, more or less. It's Friday the 13th. Don't leave things to chance. And if you're not wearing the right socks, don't worry about it. This is Jim Foster, and this is Careers Matter.